Lane pairings are everything in Deadlock because more often than not, when you win your lane, you're going to go on to win the game. Hey everyone, this is Connor here at Dead Unlocked. Today, I want to break down 10 lane pairings for heroes that I think are either just fun to try and wacky for your next game, or are just tried and true, proven, pretty meta-proof pairings that will, a lot of times, give you an edge in your game. Whether you're a beginner player or a seasoned veteran at Deadlock, I hope this can be interesting for you. Because honestly, for me, this game, I solo queue a good bit, but I also play this game a lot with a couple friends, and so lane pairings are always an interesting thing for me to think about. I've played a lot of different combinations of them, and so for this video, I want to dive into, again, my top 10 favorite lane pairings. And I'm actually going to start off with one that I think has been around for a while, has been talked about for a long time, and is just pure strong, and that's going to be Kelvin with Shiv. Where are you, Shiv? There you are, Shiv. This pairing, I feel like, makes a lot of sense for a lot of different reasons. So, Kelvin gives a lot of AoE support. The beam is good early, and once he gets going a little bit in lane, his grenade will heal. That allows you to play alongside a kind of riskier hero really well, a hero that needs to get in, be in the enemy team's face. Kelvin's kit just supplements that really well, especially once you get Dome. You can both dive onto the tower, you can play really aggressively the entire lane thanks to Kelvin's utility, which is really important for Shiv. Shiv is kind of a high-risk hero early game. There's a lot of discourse about Shiv, how he's just the most broken hero in the game. That's all fine, and I'm trying to put the short-term meta aside just temporarily for this. That way this list can be somewhat evergreen. But I still think at the end of the day, Shiv's kit is going to be conducive to playing a little bit riskier up front. If you have a hero in your lane that can help you to do that. So Kelvin is a great choice for this. You can build, a little bit supportive on Kelvin early, maybe go for like a healing right, and then that way Shiv can be a little bit more aggressive, stay up front, and hopefully snowball the game in your favor early. My number 2 pick is a little bit more, I guess, less conventional, and that's going to be Paradox and Pocket. So for this one, there's a lot of value in Burst in Deadlock. So this is one that allows you to have a kind of a close and long-range hero. So Pocket wants to be up close with a shotgun, obviously. Suitcase has a lot of burst damage. He can get out pretty easily. So you play pretty aggressively with Pocket. That gives Paradox the space to either throw grenades in and do some AoE damage kind of on top of where the Pocket is to help supplement that damage, as well as having a really nice carbine to be able to provide long-range poke. This is a lot of times where, where we talk about, you kind of go all in with the Shiv Kelvin, and that's a playstyle in the laning phase. There's also something to be said about having just a lot of pure balance in lane. So that's where we go with Pocket Paradox. That gives you some long-range poke, some kind of short-range engage. Both have, at least Pocket has pretty good escapability. Paradox really doesn't have much, but swap as well. Once you get swap into Pocket, you could swap someone under your tower, then Pocket ult them. That's almost always, if you can land those two things, that's 100% of the time going to be a kill in lane. So if you're looking for something pretty devastating like that, try Paradox and Pocket in your next lane. Sometimes, though, you really don't want balance. You just want memes and poke. If you want that, honestly, I would just play Vindicta and Grey Talon together. These two, I think, would be a ton of fun to play in lane together. I don't see this a lot, but basically the idea would be that you just fly and you stay off lane and you're just poking constantly. If you were to run this and you happen to get like an Abrams or something on the other team, this would be a ton of fun because you could just poke at the Abrams the whole time. This one's definitely a little bit memeier because you just don't have a lot of presence on lane. So if you do end up getting dove or something, you really don't have much you can do outside of just hopping away or flying or something. I will say though, the way Vindicta has been played, and I have a build for the channel on this actually, is with her stake and using maybe even alchemical fire early. I rush it in my build. Even just stake with a Crow and then a Grey Talon 1 would be a lot of burst and a lot of crowd control. So, although this is pretty memey, just running the double sniper, this, I think, actually can be pretty good. And if your lane goes well enough, you can just bird early and get some kind of global map presence with the Grey Talon. And I feel like that's pretty possible because Vindicta feels pretty strong in lane to me. So, if you're looking to go full sniper, a little bit long-range memey, I think Vindicta and Grey Talon would be a super, super fun pairing. Alright, number 4 on the list. I'm gonna stick with the memes a little bit here because I just think this would be a lot of fun and really annoying to deal with. We're gonna have, if you have a Viper player among you, if you or one of your friends is a Viper player, I think trying that with an Infernus would actually go crazy. You have so much speed. So, I mean, you can be sliding around, you can be dashing in with Infernus. Your gun damage is going to be extremely oppressive early. I would think, I haven't encountered this lane a lot in ranked. I feel like if I were to, though, it could be a truly maddening experience. I mean, even with some of the kind of global gun nerfs recently, and again, I want this list to be pretty evergreen, so I'm really not trying to think about that too much. In a world where balancing is all perfect and good, I still think an Infernus Viper lane could be crazy, purely because you just want to be squirrely, you want to shoot a lot, and you just want to put a lot of pressure on the other team. I feel like a lot of times, there's obviously different approach to laning based on the heroes you have and how they perform in lane, all that. That's kind of a different video, honestly, entirely. But in general, if you can pull off being really aggressive and pushing tempo in lane constantly, not giving up denies, keeping pressure on tower, keeping enemies kind of under their own guardian, that is almost always a good thing to be doing. I mean, there's definitely heroes you can play in this game where that's just not going to be the case for you. But I think if you're wanting to play that play style and you can play Viper or Infernus, or maybe you have a duo that can play one or the other, I would absolutely try that in your next game. All right, for number 5, I'm calling this the Where Do I Shoot lane. I don't know how good this would be, but this does pair 2 insane laners together, and that would be Sinclair and McGinnis. So in this, I'm thinking you'd go for copy early with Sinclair and turret early with McGinnis. So you basically just have, like, all over the lane, you have different angles that you're being shot from. Again, I don't know how good this would be, but just the idea that, like, there's 5 different angles of things shooting at the enemy at certain elos might just be crazy overwhelming, but at the very least, I think would be a lot of fun. I love playing McGinnis. Sinclair is one of the best laners in the game. I could see that being a super fun pairing. You have some healing sustain with the McGinnis, you have some good utility and escapability with the Sinclair. Obviously the wall, if you could wall someone, Sinclair can kind of beam them with his abilities. You can have a copy up, you can have some turrets up. I think that could be a super, super good snowball lane. You do put a lot of kind of, I don't know, those are both really good laners. You put them together, it may take away from the other team a little bit, but honestly, I think just for the memes of where do I shoot, that's my absolute number pick for number 5. Number 6, I'm just calling the beef lane. We need an Abrams lane partner, and honestly, there's a lot of different ways you can go with this. But I actually really want to go with Viscous here. So this one might feel a little bit tough. I mean, I think Abrams, if he can play it, corners correctly, can be a little cautious, can be really effective. But being able to cube an Abrams as they go in is a really great bailout tool. It allows, it's a similar idea to the Shiv Kelvin lane, where your Abrams wants to play a little aggressive, and your Viscous is going to be there to support. So that is the idea here, is you're playing Viscous kind of like you'd play Kelvin. You could sub Kelvin in here too, and it would be fine. Same for the Shiv lane, I think would be okay with the Viscous. But I think Abrams Viscous in particular is really great, as also just a pure punch lane. Abrams gets a charge and a punch, you use your puddle punch, maybe throw a splatter in there too, and all of a sudden you've just got a lot of burst damage. You're very weak to a parry, a rebuttal could go crazy against you, but that's never going to happen, right? Also, this is just a really good, another really good tempo lane. Abrams can go in and be really aggressive. Once you get Goo Ball, you can just be playing pure dive. And against some, if you were to run up against some heroes, I feel like that could be really, really strong. So number 6 pick for me is going to be Abrams and Viscous. All right, number 7 on our top 10 lane pairings is going to actually be Warden and Seven. So I think these two these are 2 of my mains. I love playing both these heroes. I actually would build this where you go for trap and stun early, just to be annoying. So I feel like in general, these are kind of just ult monsters. You get 7 ult up, you get Warden ult up, you're gonna hopefully be able to win a fight off of one or both of those, right? But I think that's more for the later part of laning, and you gotta get there. I would get there by just stun locking. So if you can get a 7 stun, and you can kind of put a Warden stun on after that, it should guarantee almost that the Warden stun can hit, unless they have some just insane escapability, like a pocket or a Wraith teleport. Maybe they have a Kelvin or a Viscous cube or something. If they don't have something like that, though, and they're just like a McGinnis or, someone without a major escape tool just standing there, I think this one could be a ton of fun to set up. So yeah, you go for the 7 stun first, then kind of as they're entering in to be about to be stunned, you'd go for the Warden lockdown. And then from there, if you have a few other abilities already, you could go for an Alchemical Flask, you could go for a Lightning Ball, and just kind of spirit your way through that lane. I think this is also just a pretty good one as far as balance goes. Warden's gun is kind of meh to use in lane, I think. Seven's gun, kind of the same way, okay when you have Power Surge going. But I think these two together could be a lot of fun for the stuns and then for the ults afterwards, honestly. So that's my number 7 pick, would be 7 and Warden. Number 8 on our lane pairings list. This one I think I've played against a few different times, and it's maddening every time. That's going to be Bebop and Mo and Krill. So we've talked about a few heroes kind of like Bebop. You know, we've talked about Paradox a little bit, Holidays in this mix, right? These are catch heroes. So Bebop has his hook. He's trying to catch an enemy player, lock them down, basically take away their movement, and set up for them to be dealt a lot of damage to. He does that with his bomb and his uppercut, but Mo can also do that really well. So a lot of times Mo wants to play up front, and it can be a little risky doing this as Mo. You're a huge target, massive hitbox. Anyone playing a gun character is just going to shoot you whenever they don't know what to do. Especially at lower ranks, you're just going to get shot at constantly. People won't even see the troopers. So in this, you could actually play Mo and Krill a little bit farther back if your Bebop can hit hooks. If your Bebop can hit some hooks, you can hook, you can bomb, you can uppercut, you can scourge, you can disarm, and if once you have Mo and Krill, you can also ult them. That would be a truly devastating combination if you could land one, and would almost undoubtedly be a kill confirmed, which helps Mo and Krill to stack for his ult, helps Bebop to stack with his bombs. So this is kind of just a really annoying stacking catch mechanic lane. I think this one could be really strong, personally, and if at the very least, it's going to be extremely annoying. And also, I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I'm trying to use unique heroes for each of these, so with just 2 left on the list, we've only got a few heroes left. Hopefully, we've got some good lane pairings left. All right, for number 9 on the list, I want to go for another kind of all-in dive team, but with a little bit of support. So I'm going to go with Yamato and Dynamo. So these are ones where I feel like you're able to go full support on the Dynamo. You could go for a little bit of stomping here, but I think the Yamato is going to be perfect for going in with a heal support like Dynamo. Yamato is honestly just one that I think can be good in a lot of different lane scenarios. You have a lot of poke, you have a lot of good up front. Your right click on your gun is super serviceable for just like some long range poke with a little bit of kind of explosion splash. And I think Dynamo can supplement that really well. Dynamo's ult, if you're able to get it off. Yamato doesn't have like an amazing follow-up on that, like in terms of burst damage, but I feel like if you're able to hold them in that ult long enough, Yamato should be able to catch up on the damage, do enough. This is one, though, for me, it's not about necessarily the explosive plays, it's just about consistent pressure over the course of the lane. This is one where you're going to wear down the enemy team, you're not going to try and take Guardian, you know, first in the game or anything like that, I don't think. Unless you're just cracked like that, maybe. But yeah, so Yamato and Dynamo is my number 9 pick for just a good, slow burn, balanced play. All right, before we get to number 10, just want to ask if you enjoy the video, throw us a like. If you like the channel, throw us a subscribe. We're brand new, just starting off at, you know, a little over 150 or so subscribers so far, I think. So doing good, but number 10 on the list, we're just calling this the global lane. All right, if you want a lane where, yeah, you can do some pretty good stuff, but the emphasis is going to be on winning your lane fast and leaving, I think you should try Mirage and Ivy. So this one, these are both really solid gun characters. Both have a pretty good stun with, you know, Tornado and Statue. Good AoE damage with Ivy as well, with the Kudzu. And Mirage is just a great laner. I'm surprised it took me till number 10 to talk about Mirage, because he is an incredible laning hero. And as soon as they're done with lane, you can just teleport away. So that's the idea with this, is that basically, as soon as you win this lane, maybe not both of you leave, because that's just probably generally a bad idea, but trade off leaving. Have Ivy fly away right away to go help another fight while Mirage stays back. Have Ivy circle back to lane, then Mirage can teleport over, or vice versa, something like that. Basically, putting these two together, Ivy can play a little bit supportive up front even, but this is just so you can hopefully win your lane, secure that lane, and then just kind of kite, play defense, and help give global presence on the map. I think all in all, this one actually could be extremely serviceable. I've probably seen this in game. No instances are ringing, but I don't have any PTSD from playing against an Ivy Mirage combo, right? But I think in theory, this one provides a lot of utility, and honestly, putting anyone with Mirage is probably not going to feel too bad. But that is going to do it for my top 10 lane duos you should try in Deadlock. Again, I'm recognizing there's probably more meta picks here. Like, I took a look at Stat Locker and some other sites for laning win rates currently. I tried to use them some, but not too much, because, again, those are always going to be a little bit meta-dependent, kind of flavor of the week for Deadlock. It's still in this extremely early phase, and honestly, I want to try and make this a little bit more, like I said, I've mentioned a couple times, a little bit more evergreen, a little bit more beginner-friendly. That way, if you are someone who is coming back to this game after a long time, and you're just trying to figure out who you and your friends should play in lane, hopefully this video can give you at least some semblance of a starting ground to work from. Also, hopefully, we'll have some new heroes coming in the next few weeks, so this video will just be totally null and void. I'll probably have to make a new one when we have a way bigger hero select screen here to choose from. So hopefully that's the case. But until then, and until next time, thank you all so much for tuning in to Dead Unlocked once again. From our house to yours, we'll see you next time.